Welcome to Things You Might Not Have Heard from the Conversation Project. And, of course, the Conversation Project is your home for headline news, information, and pop culture references that are worth chatting about. We have for you 8 stories, including stories that are Trump adjacent going on today to get into the wrapping up of the old year, 2025, and tomorrow morning, a brand new year. So we're going to do our best to get up early, knock out this news stories for you here, stay up late so we can watch the ball drop because we can't go any place because we're old. Just to get up early and try to give you whatever news happens today, which hopefully won't be all that exciting. We remember last year when we were dealing with the new year, and I became one of my biggest things getting things started, we had a bit of unrest as people were attacking New Orleans and attacking Las Vegas. Hopefully that won't happen this year, so we'll work for that. But for today, or technically yesterday, we're talking Tatiana Schlossberg, we're talking George Amal Clooney, and Nicki Minaj, and we have 5 other stories, around 8 stories for today. Very simple, very clean. Not so clean. As we're working out the whole cough thing, sooner or later. But since someone's watching it now live, hopefully watching on the replay, let me know if you're watching it. If you pop in on the replay or the live stuff, let me know where you're from. Remind you that our website home is conversationproject.com for more details about how and why and what we'll do going forward. And of course, you can visit the site to find out more things about our partnership page, our sponsorship page, and things to help keep us going. We'll talk one sponsor in just a bit. That will be Ground News, our spotlight sponsor that we talk about basically all the time. Now let's get into the 8 stories for today, this Wednesday, the 31st of December, 2025, the last day of this terrible, horrible, gosh darn bad year. To get ready for another terrible, horrible, gosh darn bad year, we're assuming we should speak, positivity in his stuff. Yeah, the way things are going, the odds aren't going that much further in our favor. Let's get into it. I'm going to start off with what was more or less breaking news, although technically it's breaking news from Friday, because this whole thing sort of ball of wax sort of blown up since Friday. Nobody really deciphered it until middle yesterday, and it became something of a thing. The CAA is behind a strike at a Venezuelan dock that Trump claims was used by drug smugglers. That's a pretty simple, very simple headline. The story itself, not so much. As U.S. officials have confirmed, the CAA strike on the Venezuelan dock was a covert operation carried out earlier this year, and we heard about it on Friday during a radio interview. It contradicts the impression that it was a conventional military action, which is what people were thinking, because people are afraid that Donald Trump is really about regime change and boots on the ground and basically taking over Venezuela and making it a different place. Maybe not better, but different is what's going on. This dock was described by the Trump administration as a hub used for drug smuggling, and the claim the Venezuelans officially deny, while independent verification remains limited. We don't really know. According to the AP, the strike involved drones and was authorized under intelligence authorities rather than overt military rules of engagement. This means it's not headsets problem. This means it's not a direct sort of war declaration with boots on the ground. This means it gives them some cover, being the Trump administration cover, to do this. Trump publicly referenced the strike to underscore his hardline approach towards Venezuela and folding the operation into the broader messaging on drugs, border security, and national strength, which was probably his actual sin there, was not just saying we had an issue against that and the CIA thought covert action would work out here. It was basically saying, oh, it's all a part of my big plan. Your big plan's a little sketchy. From the standpoint of the CIA, it makes it technically legal, or because it was a covert action against a particular type of target. But it does raise the narrative of what exactly are we doing down there, and when will we do what we want to do. The air quotes is the want down there. Yeah, that's going to happen anytime soon. China is firing more missiles during the second day of drills as Taiwan condemns the provocation and the military escalation of its neighbor. China is basically doing what it can to be the bully. and escalating with military drills near Taiwan, firing missiles on the second day of the exercises, signaling a shift from its symbolic maneuvers to live fire capability demonstrations, just showing exactly what's going on. Not only rattling the sabers, but just kind of tapping them on your back of your shoulder so you know just how sharp they could be. Taiwan's defense ministry condemned the action as a provocative military escalation, saying it destabilizes regional security and increases the risk of some miscalculations. The wrong bomb in the wrong place could start off a little something something. These drills being framed by Beijing as warnings against the outside involvement, that's us. Language that is used specifically to talk about all the allies that are saying they will be there with Taiwan if China decides it wants to go in there and take it over, much like Russia decided it wanted to go there and just roll in and take over Ukraine. From a strategic standpoint, the communications that's being put out there, the missile launches serve as visual proof of resolve. Essentially, they have what they need to do to take care of things there, and they want to make sure everyone knows it's not going to be an easy fight, whether it's a naval route, which most likely will be because it's surrounded by the sea, or actual troops on the ground. The escalation complicates some diplomatic signings as the live fire activity narrows off ramps and forces Taiwanese and his partners to actually have some visible readiness responses as opposed to just business as usual. Analysts are keeping an eye on this one pretty specifically because as last year became another year or extension of the wars going on in Ukraine and Russia, and an extension basically of the war that's happening in Palestine with Israel. This is one that hasn't quite sparked off yet, but this one may have the actual implications of the WW3 that people are worried about. This one may be the thing that actually turns it into the global conflict going forward, and we are not ready for this. Tatiana Schlossberg, the granddaughter of John F. Kennedy Jr., died, and this is a very sad passing. It was something we saw coming, but Schlossberg is the granddaughter of John F. Kennedy and died, according to family linked reporting shared this week. She was part of the Kennedy family's younger generation, basically the third part of the generation that is sort of taking its hold now, largely removed from the electoral politics, but closely into the legacy that's the family's historical heritage. All the accoutrements that come along with having the name, speaking the words, doing the stuff to get things done, but not exactly in the political realm. The coverage of this has emphasized her privacy and limited public details about what's going on with her death, reflecting the family's strong standing and effort to separate the public service they've had from their personal lives. Her passing is basically putting some reflection on the generation that's now, on the generations that are basically two generations ago, the Kennedy lineage, and what remains of the visible decades after JFK's presidency and, of course, RFK's reign before he had a chance to become maybe president, and, of course, what we're seeing now in between with RFK Jr. So this is something that's a big deal. You may not think it's such a big deal, but this is something that's a bit bigger than all of us. It's basically, how do we see ourselves in this world? How do we see ourselves in our legacies? And how do we actually play off our past, good, bad, and different, into the nows, and what do we grow into nows? This is a chance to look into the legacy of the Kennedys. This is a chance for young people to get into some history and see how things sort of came through. We'll see what happens if it actually comes to fruition. If this comes to fruition, it's going to be interesting. George Clooney has talked about having a simpler life and a nice place to raise his kids. That place may be France, as the Clooneys, George and Amal, have been granted French citizenship, formalizing a long-standing ties to the country. They spent a lot of time there. Now they can live there as citizens. The French officials cited residency, cultural integration, and public standing as factors in the decision to bring in a pretty famous family to sort of lord over them, if you will. A new layer to the Clooney's already international profile that spans the U.S., U.K., and Europe. George and Amal, who's an actual international lawyer and does solving world problems, and George Clooney, who just looks kind of cute, doing things for a lot of world's causes. This makes things interesting. We'll go with interesting. The dual citizenship has some flexibility, shifting of some global tax work and where they can live, and some security situations where high-profile individuals can kind of get away in France a little better than they can here. It was more of a lifestyle announcement than a government's announcement story. More of celebrity gossip than something that was political. It sort of went kind of low for a second, but it is what's there. And it actually reflects Amal Clooney's professional stature more than it does George Clooney's professional stature, because his profession is, being an actor. We'll see. We'll see if the soft power of France will have anything to go against the hard power of the U.S., and where the Clooneys will be staying in for quite some time, because now they have free reign to leave if they want to. We'll see if we want them to or if they want to. Like, share, and subscribe. This is the part where I ask you to help us out a bit. Like the videos you're seeing here so the algorithms will show it to more people. It is just that simple. If the algorithm sees a lot of people engaging in a story, they will show it to more people, whether they're engaged with it because they actually like it or not. Now, share it with like-minded people as well. People who are going to engage in it just as much as you will. They will watch it. They will share it. They will hit the like and share as well. And if you're not getting our progress, our work, our stuff, and we produce things daily, that means you're not subscribed to us. That means the algorithm has hit you today and thinks you should like what we're doing today. But why don't you get it all the time? Because you know you're going to like it. Why don't you? Subscribe so you get this into your feed whenever you get this. You don't have to watch it live as we're doing this now, currently 5:45 a.m. Central Time, as we're producing this for the live feed. But you can watch it on the replays. You can get our hot takes. You can get little bit things there. And if you follow us on Facebook and X, the feeds, if you will, you can help engage in the stories that we're looking towards the full day, and help us pick stories for our hot takes and for this thing here, things you might not have heard. We've not gotten back to Candace yet, but we're moving on to Nicki Minaj. Candace Owens is, of course, fighting the good fight, the bad fight, the fight that there is to basically destroy all conservatives, all the MAGA wing folks there. But Nicki Minaj is doing her best to join in and play the role and bring folks with her. And apparently, people want her gone. A petition calling for Nicki Minaj's deportation, remember, she's not a natural-born citizen, has passed 50,000 signatures as of this reporting for this article. An online petition calling for the deportation of Ms. Minaj, surpassing 50,000 signatures despite having no legal standing. The petition stems from past controversies and a recent viral discourse rather than any new court action or immigration ruling. I.e., some people are jumping on the WAP stuff, some people are jumping on the TPUSA stuff, and combining them like Voltron for a sword to take out Nicki Minaj, whether they actually don't like her or not. From a lens that we have here, from our viewpoint, because we're about clicks and content, the petition is more of a function of a protest than is any actually policy tools. They can't actually send her away someplace. This is an online petition. This is not a petition to a court to say, hey, Nicki Minaj is dangerous. This is just a bunch of people online basically trolling, saying, hey, Nicki Minaj is dangerous. Coverage is being emphasized that the U.S. deportation decisions are what they are, and a lot of people who even maybe weren't thinking about Nicki on this case, or just didn't pull in the point that now that she's coming into the tent of the conservatives, the MAGA folks, going on the Turning Point USA platforms, people should start looking into her status. Remember, she is an immigrant. She is not a natural-born citizen here. So it's something to look into. Or it's not. It's more, we've got to talk about things that are conversational. That's the whole point of things are here. So this brings up a conversation. This is good to talk about. Does it mean anything in the grand scheme of things? Absolutely not. No, it doesn't. We're not deporting Nicki Minaj. She can keep doing whatever. The biggest thing is her biggest hits, essentially, were 10, 15 years ago. So she is running out the clock of her assets, for lack of a better word. But, she's got to stay relevant. Status stay good. There are a lot of people who follow her and listen to what she says. And because of what she's been saying lately, there are a lot more people who don't quite follow her and listen to what she says. John Calipari is criticizing the NCAA over some eligibility rules after Baylor signed a former NBA draft pick to their actual roster. Baylor, the college, pulled in a person that was actually drafted by the NBA. So Calipari, who for whatever reason I can hardly believe I actually am pulling for this guy, but as a person who lives in Arkansas who has to pull for the Razorbacks, he's their head coach. He's the guy. And he right now is speaking fire, speaking truth, publicly criticizing current NCAA eligibility rules after Baylor signed a former NBA draft pick. Basically, he was named eligible to retain his college basketball status after being a draft pick. Calipari argued that the rules create competitive imbalance by rewarding programs that can navigate a gray area that is pretty aggressive, i.e. the gray area is your eligibility. This is the bigger deal, and even more coaches have been piling on specifically about NIL money and transfer rules and eligibility decisions all come together right now. It is terrible for football and basketball because that's where the money is, that all these players are actually getting paid. It's not bad for the players who deserve something for their efforts. It's bad for the coaches because they're not getting their cuts. It's bad for the schools because it's making things like chaos, and it's turning the amateur into a non-amateur. And when you're able to pull someone who basically had pro status and now pull them back to the amateur status and pay them, it's an issue. Baylor's signing became a flashpoint because it highlights how quickly the system is evolving without any unified framework. It's just not working, or not working well. Many things work, they just don't seem to work exactly what they need to. This is the case right here. Criticism from Calipari because he is who he is. Criticism for the governance of the NILs and the transfer portals and how people get in and out of schools, because it is criticism all around. There's plenty to go for this one in what's going on with the college bowl season right now. We got bowl games tonight and tomorrow, and of course basketball, which is kicking in full swing, which would really be a big deal once you start pulling those folks on the court. Stefon Diggs is denying the assault charges and the strangulation charges that he has been levied on him in the Massachusetts case. The NFL wide receiver Stefon Diggs has denied any of these things, assault and strangulation charges that were filed in a Massachusetts case against him. His legal team has characterized the allegations as false and said Diggs will contest them through the court process. Prosecutors have not released extensive details publicly, limiting the case narrative to filings and defense statements. You may have seen some updates to this stuff here. We have to pull what we have from the story we posted and from our robot editor, so it's never perfect. There are more details out there if you want to go looking for them. But from a league standpoint, the case raises familiar questions about the NFL's personal conduct policy and the timing of any administrative action. Does the NFL really care if our players are good guys or bad guys, and what exactly will they do? How will they do things? Will they actually levy some punishment, especially as we're reaching to the playoffs, which is a big deal for the Patriots right now? Media coverage is constrained by verification standards. You don't really know. We're now all getting is bits and pieces from court records and things like that, and from leaks. So you don't want to be the guy that put out the wrong thing, but you also don't want to be the guy that puts out the last thing, because those two guys usually get blasted. Somewhere in the middle is where we want to be. Right now, we're still opening up for this one right here. But plenty of things on the sports crime blotter right now. This is a pretty high profile one right here. And Diggs says this ain't him. He didn't do it. He's going to fight this one in court. We had to do a little bit of editing last minute to put this in there. We did not have Donald Trump's first story, the first story we had about the Venezuelan strike against the dock on the bay at Venezuela, which was not a strike on a boat in the middle of water. So we had to chop off a story on a beef recall. Go look online, beef recall. If that's on you, get on that one. This one right here is one we've been chasing for a bit because the timing is right. And we have 15 finalists for the NFL Hall of Fame, or I'm sorry, Pro Football Hall of Fame from the modern era. And this is including some big guys that I enjoy: Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, and Eli Manning. They're headlined a host of 15 folks there. They represent great past legacy. They had great stats. They played for quite a bit of time. They played consistently, and the postseason defining moments. All these guys won stuff. Larry Fitzgerald did not get a actual. I think he got an MVP, but he did not actually get a Super Bowl. Drew Brees and of course Eli Manning getting 2, proving he's superior to his brother with more talent. Oddly enough, from a angle that we want to talk about, it's quarterback heavy. There's a lot of finalists who were big time quarterbacks in the last 10 years, and I guess 4 or 5 years since they've been out of game, minus a Phillip Rivers. These guys have been putting up the stats, making things happen. It was, I'll say, before the real revolution of running backs taking over the game. Running backs have always been big time scorers for your teams, but running backs taking over the games to become the stat leaders. Here's a chance where it was quarterbacks who were doing all the things at the time. Now shifts to the voters. Now that they have a list of 15 of people who are the ones, it's up to the voters of the selection to see who makes what list, and we'll find out very soon who makes this year's Hall of Fame and who gets pushed back onto a second ballot going forward. Let's talk about Ground News, our spotlight sponsor for today. Ground News allows you to get in on news that will make you feel better or actually make you feel worse. It's a lot like what we have here. When I talk about, you can like us or hate like us, but we like you anyway. We want you to like us anyway because of the clicks and whatnot. Sometimes a headline will come across. Sometimes a story will just show up in your feed, and you're like, something's not right here. And so you go to Ground News and you can see who's covering it, who else is covering it, and see what doesn't feel right about it. Whether you're getting it from a source that you're not so sure is a valid source, or you're just seeing way too much of it in a certain venue and you're thinking, there got to be somebody saying something else about this, something positive from this. Ground News can help you out with that one. Ground News will take you through all of the headlines, whether they're local, whether they're national, whether they are international, whether they're from podcasts or traditional news sources, and let you know what's behind the scenes of what's going on, who owns the platform, who's pushing what's going on, and what types of stories are actually pushing for you. And if you use their Vantage plan, you get a chance to log into their blind spot feature. What's that do? Well, blind spots in the name. It tells you if there's any blind spots into the coverage that you're getting for stuff right there. And it shows you what stories that are being overly played by one side or the other. Maybe the Republicans want you to know that Joe Biden is bad, so they do a lot of Joe Biden is bad stories. But they also want you to think that Donald Trump is good, so they do very few Donald Trump is bad stories. Or flip the script on that one. You can see what stories are being fed to you that are telling a specific narrative because they want you to see that using the blind spot feature, using that from their Vantage plan, and you can get that for 40% off with using our affiliate link. This is theconversationproject.com/ground news. This is theconversationproject.com/ground news. Get 40% off. And you can get their regular plan for less than $1 a month, but you can get great deals off any of their plans using our affiliate link at the Conversation Project. We get a small commission back. Helps to keep us with the lights on, doing work, asking you for less stuff. It's all in the watch right there. Proper use of the mute button right there. Make sure you stop by and see what we have going on. 3 days in, hopefully 2 more days. It was a little rough to get up this morning, believe it or not. So I'm not sure how well we're going to do with staying up late tonight and then getting up early tomorrow to make it happen. But we're committed. We're going to do our best to make it happen. Especially since essentially all day long we would just be watching fireworks go off at various places because the time zones will give us the change of the time. And we're hoping no crazy things happen. No breaking news. No one's attacking any football games or party spots into the new year. We definitely don't want that one. And we kind of want to see the Chevy Chase documentary. We're kind of really wanting to see that one, not complaining about that one. In the meantime, our website home, this is theconversationproject.com. Our email address, conversationinbox@gmail.com. Our feeds on Facebook and X, where you can follow along on vote up stories that you think we should be chatting up. It's that simple. And of course, just being with us anywhere you can find us. Like, share, and subscribe. We say that a lot. It is Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. We say goodbye to 2025 and prepare to say hello to 2026. Hopefully with an actual edition of things you might not have heard and all the things that go along with it. Thank you so much for a great year we've had. If you have been with us for any length of time, this is a very long project with various different names. We thank you. If you went through us with this year and all you did was basically survive the year, trust me, you did very well, because some folks did not happen. I almost did not happen to survive it, so we're happy about that part. But we have, although we're not quite calling it into existence on the positive level, although we should, we have a lot of great things, positive things, new things we're expecting for the next year, 2026. So be prepared for them to start literally as of tomorrow, 12 hours from now. In the meantime, love you all, mean it so much. We will see you in 2026.